Hello students, welcome to the 11th online lecture for the subject of sociology. My dear students, we begin with a new chapter today, that is chapter number 5, culture. So we shall try to understand the concept of culture. Culture is one of the most important concepts in social science. Culture and society go together. The study of human society immediately and necessarily leads us to the study of its culture. Thus, culture and society are inseparable. The word culture is used in a number of ways by sociologists as well as in everyday conversation. Culture is popularly referred to as the whole way of life found in a particular society. Culture is the unique possession of man. One man is born and brought up in a cultural environment. Other animals live in a natural environment. It is culture that distinguishes humans from animals. The term culture was first used by Edward Tylor in 1871. In everyday usage, when we use the term culture, we tend to think of refined things of the mind like art, music, etc. But speaking from sociological point of view, it includes more than these. But sociologists look at culture as a way of life in which all the members participate. Thus, from the sociological point of view, culture includes everything like dressing pattern, eating habits, language, mannerism, religion, literature, sports, etc. This makes culture dynamic that is changing constantly. Let's study some of the definition of culture. According to Edward Tylor, culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. Another definition, according to Malinowski, culture is the cumulative creation of man. He also regards culture as the handiwork of man and the medium through which he achieves his ends. It is thus clear that the term culture is used in a different sense in sociology than its usage in everyday life. In everyday use, we may apply the term culture to an educated person, or we may use the term culture to refer to a personal refinement. In sociology, however, culture does not mean personal refinement. It is referred to the way of life of people. Types of culture. Every society has a culture of its own. People in different societies have different cultures. However, along with differences in culture, we also find cultural similarities. Example, people may worship different gods in different ways, but they all have a religion. There will be differences in their ceremonies, rituals, customs, but every society will have some ceremony, rituals, custom unique to them. Every culture consists of such non material things. Similarly, every society consists of material things of different kinds. These material things may be primitive or modern, simple or complex. The concept of material culture is relatively more precise and less vague, but the concept of non material culture is more vague, that is less clear. Thus, culture is divided into two types. Number one, material culture, and number two, non material culture. Let's study them in detail. Number one, material culture. Material culture consists of man made objects like tools, implements, furniture, buildings, dams, roads, jewelry, computers, television, etc. That is, it includes technical and material equipments which have been changed and used by man. It is referred to as civilization. These objects, material culture, are concrete and tangible in nature. Material culture is very important to enhance the quality of life of man. Number two, non material culture. The term culture, when used in ordinary sense, means non material culture. It is something internal and reflects the inward nature of man. Non material culture consists of words, language we speak, beliefs we hold, values we cherish, rituals, and ceremonies we perform. It also includes our customs and taste, ways of acting, feeling, and thinking. Thus, non material culture refers to ideas created by human beings. It is abstract and intangible. Non material culture is further divided into cognitive and normative. The cognitive aspect refers to the understanding as well as how we make sense of information around us. Example, ideas, beliefs, knowledge. The normative aspect consists of customs, laws, etc. These are the rules that guide people's behavior in society. The material aspect of culture changes very fast. It is easy to introduce and accept new technology, new food, habits, new fashion, clothing, jewelry, etc. However, it is very difficult to change and accept changes in non material aspects of culture. Example, it is very difficult to change our age, old values, ideas, practices that we have been doing for centuries. These changes are not easily accepted by people. There is a lot of resistance to change in the non material cultural aspects. Students, after discussing the type of culture, that is material and non material culture, let us make an attempt to bring out the differences between the two. Point number one, material culture refers to objects which are concrete and tangible in nature. The nature of non material culture is abstract and intangible. Point number two, material culture can be transmitted easily without any efforts. Non material culture cannot be easily transmitted or communicated. Point number three, material culture can be borrowed without any loss. Non material culture can never be borrowed in their original form. Point number four, material culture is external and a means. Non material culture is internal and an end. Point number five, example of material culture, artifacts. Example of non material culture, ideas and values, religion, art, etc. As I said earlier, material culture changes fast, but it takes time for people to bring about changes in the non material aspects of culture. They resist the changes in the non material aspects of the culture. Over a period of time, there arises a gap between material and non material culture. This gap is known as cultural lag. Components of culture. Culture is a very wide and comprehensive concept. It consists of various components. It is therefore necessary that its main elements or components should be identified and labeled, analyzed, and related to one another. The main components of culture which we shall try to understand are: number 1, symbols; number 2, language; number 3, knowledge; number 4, values and beliefs; and number 5, norms. Let us try to understand each one of them individually. Number 1, symbols. Every culture is filled with symbols or things that stand for something else and that often evoke various reactions and emotions. The first element that exists in every culture is a variety of symbols. Thus, culture is a system of symbols. Symbols are anything used to represent, express, and stand for an event or situation. A symbol is anything that is used to stand for something else. Symbols are very important in communication. Some symbols are actually types of non-verbal communication, while other symbols are in fact material objects. Example: shaking hands convey friendship and is used in greeting each other. Probably all societies have non-verbal symbols which we call gestures. Gestures are movement of hands, arms, or other parts of body that are meant to convey certain ideas or emotions. Some of our most important symbols are material objects. Example: the Indian flag. It is not just a piece of cloth, but it is a symbol of freedom, democracy, and inspires patriotism. The amber light at the traffic signal conveys the message that one can be ready to start one's vehicle. With the increased usage of mobile nowadays, emojis are used to express and communicate various emotions. One uses them to express their feelings online or through texting. Shared symbols make social interaction possible. Number 2, language. In all societies, language is an important symbol system. At the level of pre-literate people, language is entirely oral. Written records have helped people as a symbol system to depend upon the memories of the aged and knowledge of the past. Languages, which have a vast collection of books on a wide variety of topics, have the key to the extremely rich culture. Speech is an aspect of language. It consists of vocal and other kind of gestures, example bowing, shaking hands, saluting, kissing, etc. These gestures have symbolic meanings which are mostly cultural. Thus, language refers to a group of words or ideas having common meaning and is shared in a social situation. Language is a source of communication to transmit messages from one person to another. Language differs from culture to culture and is transmitted from one generation to another. Language is the foundation of culture, Animals do not have culture because they don't have particular language to transmit it to others. So language is the key factor of social life. Humans thus have a capacity for language that no other animal species possess. Number 3, knowledge. All societies have culture that has a storehouse of knowledge about the physical and social world. Knowledge is one of the most important elements of culture. Knowledge makes it easy for us to cope up with the existing situation. Knowledge is information and skills gained through experience. It is the awareness gained by experience of a situation. Whether a society is primitive or advanced, both have knowledge with regards to their survival. For example, in a primitive society, members would have practical knowledge about how to make fire, how to build home, knowledge about hunting, fishing, food gathering, how to travel safely from one place to another. They also have enough knowledge about how to protect themselves from storms or attacks by wild animals, etc. They also know how to heal a wound and how to make their tools and implements. This kind of knowledge is transmitted from one generation to the next. In advanced modern societies, because of knowledge explosion, there is a lot to know. No single person can even hope to know everything. For example, knowledge about computers, social sciences, biological and the physical science, etc. Knowledge could be direct or indirect. Direct knowledge is immediate knowledge. Example, when you see a mango, inhale its fragrance, eat it, you will have direct knowledge of what a mango is. Indirect knowledge is mediated knowledge. For example, if you see smoke in a building, you know that wherever there is smoke, there is fire. So, even though you have not actually seen the building on fire, you know that is probability where somewhere in the building there is fire. The next component of culture is values and beliefs. Let us first try to understand values as an important element of culture. Values are an important element of culture. Values are the collective conceptions by which members of a society define what is good or bad, what is desirable or undesirable in a culture. They indicate what people in a particular culture prefer or find important and what is morally right or wrong. A culture's values shape its norms. Culture differs from society to society, so values also differ in every social situation. Some values are hereditary, which we gain from our elders, parents, and books we read. Thus, values are standards set by the members of the society. They influence people's behavior and serve as guidelines for social living. Values are different in every society. However, some values are universal, that is, they are found in all societies. Example, truth, honesty, beauty, peace, justice, etc. Let us try to understand what beliefs are. A belief is an idea or statement about reality which people accept as true. A belief may be based on past experience, religious faith and understanding, or public opinion. Beliefs cannot be verified by experience. For example, belief in existence of God, belief in the idea of heaven and hell, etc. People in India conduct weddings on days believed to be auspicious. In some communities, a black thread is tied around the wrist to prevent evil eyes befalling on them. Beliefs are specific, particular matters that individual considers to be true or false. Beliefs may change over a period of time. Example, people in some cultures believe that the sun is God and therefore worship it. However, when literacy and knowledge spread in these cultures, it is possible that because of scientific knowledge, they regard the sun as celestial body whose combustion gives us heat and light. Both values and beliefs, however, form the basis of our worldview. We learn from our families, school, religion to think and act according to the approved principles. Let us in the end examine how norms form an important element of culture. Norms refer to rules and they are behavioral expectations by which a society guides the behavior of its members. They are the established standard of social behavior which an individual in a group is expected to follow. Norms state what people should or should not do. According to Broom and Selznick, norms are blueprints for behavior, setting limits within which individuals may seek alternate ways to achieve their goals. Some of the norms are proscriptive, that is, they tell us what we shouldn't do, whereas some norms are prescriptive, that is, they spell out what we should do. However, some of the norms are applicable universally. For example, everywhere it is a standard norm wherein parents expect obedience from children. Hence, this norm is applicable universally. Social norms are divided into number 1, folkways, number 2, mores. Let us examine them. Number 1, folkways. Folkways are mildly enforced social expectations, accepted ways of behavior. The term folkways was introduced by W. G. Sumner in 1906. Folk means people, and ways refer to their behavioral habits. They are the norms to which we abide because it is customary to do so in our society. Folkways represent man's unique means of adapting to the environment. Example of folkways: the ways of eating, dressing, talking, greeting, conversing represents folkways. They are the foundation of every culture. When fully assimilated, they become personal habits. Human infants learn the folkways through the elders as they grow older. No society does or could exist without folkways. They are the ways of a group to meet certain needs or to solve day to day problems. As folkways are the informal means of social control, they have assumed a lot of importance. Number 2, mores. Mores are more serious norms than folkways. They are unwritten, customary ways of life. They have a very serious binding on groups. Violation of mores is seen as a serious threat to the social order. They bring direct pressure on our behavior and are very powerful instruments of social control. Let us now analyze the differences between folkways and mores. Number 1, Folkways are mildly enforced social expectations, whereas mores are serious, unwritten, customary ways of life. Number two, folkways are less deeply rooted in the society, whereas mores are deeply rooted in the society. Number three, folkways may change rapidly with one's social status and occupational position, whereas mores do not change in that manner, for they are permanent standards of right conduct. Number 4, violation of folkways does not incur any kind of punishment for an individual. However, violation of mores brings strong disapproval and severe punishment to an individual. With this, we come to the end of today's lecture. We will continue with the same chapter in the next lecture. Thank you.